Hi everyone. Let's wait for one more minute and we will start with the presentation and the session. And people who have joined, can you just confirm me if you're able to hear me? Just put it in the chat window. Okay, everyone. It's already 5 minutes and we'll just start with the session. Thanks everyone, first of all, for joining the session. And my name is Bharat, and I'm working as a front-end developer. I have 3+ years of experience where I'm working on JavaScript with React projects as well as the UI development. As I written in my bio, that my passion is about UI and UX. I really like to read articles about UX and the how we can apply those strategies into our websites or the mockups which we create in day-to-day life as a developer. And and other than that, like my hobby is mostly playing sports, and I'm also a member of the other communities in Hyderabad, such as Hyderabad Python community, where uh, I'm a part of that community, and we help organize Python meetups in Hyderabad. So yeah, I have some experience working with Python as well as I have some passion about Python. So yeah, we'll start with this today's topic, which is accelerated mobile pages and AMP. So what is AMP, and how we can create uh, AMP pages for our website? How we can integrate AMP in our websites? So a lot of people might not have heard this term because it's not that popular, but you might be interacting with AMP pages uh, in your day-to-day life, because as of now, like most of the news publication websites and article publication websites are using AMP behind the scenes to instantly load any of the articles which are there. So for example, like if you're using applications like Google News or something, there will be an article which is loading within under 2 seconds or even 1.5 seconds, which is really really fast. If we talk about the article, and it's more content centric, and it's basically the instant loading is it's one of the feature of AMP, and the other things are like how Google gives a priority to AMP pages in their indexing algorithms and all. So before learning about AMP, what is AMP, what is accelerated mobile pages, I would like I would like to just take one moment where I would uh, ask a question to myself or you people, like why do we need AMP in the first place? Why can't we just create websites how we are doing right now. So yeah, that question, the answer for that question would be, uh, I'll try to explain one scenario. I hope you'll be able to connect to it. So, for example, let's say you got a link from your friend of a website, and you basically tapped on that link, and it opens in the browser. It takes at least 3 to 4 seconds, and there is a loading icon always. Like that's a normal scenario where you will see a loading icon on the websites most probably. So yeah, the website is loading, and in the end, what do you see is not what you expected. Like for example, you thought like there would be some big article with a nice content, nice images and all, and I will get to I'll get to see some information after that article. But in the end, you get a promo or something or a text which is not even meaningful. Okay, and you wasted your 6 to 7 seconds just to load that particular page or website. So as of now, like how we are consuming content is completely different from how we used to do before. Like we were more into desktops. We were using desktops, and now the whole generation and everything has moved to mobile phones. We are consuming more and more content, and we are consuming more and more data as well on our mobile phones compared to the other devices like tablet or desktop. So it clearly says that the mobile is the most important device if you want to put your content. If you want to target any audience, it should be mobile first instead of desktop and tablet. Those things should come later. And if you compare a desktop and a mobile, the bandwidth and everything will be little different for both of them, right? And how we are consuming content every day in our life is more and more on mobile, and people don't want to wait for so long. If you're opening a website, if people wait for like 3 seconds. If it's loaded within 3 seconds, they will try to scroll through it. Otherwise, before even the website is loaded, they will just can close the app and then just finish that process. And in the end, you're not just increasing any kind of interaction with your website, any kind of connection with your users. The bounce rate is getting increased in this case. So that's why we say each and every website should think about that aspect where the a lot of audience is there in the mobile. A lot of audience is there in the mobile, and there are people who are ready to consume your data. And so that's how it should be instant. So yeah, so this is the agenda and the key takeaways for this session. So as I told, I will be giving a small introduction to AMP and why do we need AMP in the first place. Once we understand that why do we need AMP, we will get to the point where we would like to create AMP websites. And there are other features as well out of AMP, which are AMP ads, AMP email, and AMP stories. All of them are really nice features, and I would like to contribute some equal amount of time on all 3 or 4 of them. So most probably we will be covering AMP websites altogether, the whole topic. And the other thing would be AMP ads and AMP emails and AMP stories. We'll have a small coding session as well where I will try to convert a simple website into a AMP website, and we will try to use the components which are provided by AMP. Okay, let me. Sorry for that. I think you should be able to see the complete screen now. Yeah, I would just for this session, there is an acronym like wherever I'm saying AMP, that means Accelerated Mobile Pages, which is the project by Google. Uh, this is the website if you want to know, amp.dev, and you will be getting all the information on this website, how to create all the tutorials and guides will be there. I have included all these links in the references section of the slides, and I'll be sharing the slides too. Yeah, so those were the agenda as part of this session, and by the end of this session, you will be able to understand why, what is the AMP project doing and how they are developing, and what are the features out of the AMP project which are there, how you can use or utilize AMP components or scripts in your project, and the other things are how you can integrate AMP in your websites. Let's say your website is hosted on some CMS or some kind of software which you have, how you can integrate those things. So we will try to just touch upon that topic as well. So yeah, these are the agenda and the okay, let's get started with the introduction of AMP. I have already introduced AMP. Let me do it again quickly. So AMP is a project from Google. It's called Accelerated Mobile Pages, and there are a lot of concepts and methodologies which are used in AMP and how to create AMP and all. Why do we need AMP? As I told, uh, like most of the content which which user is consuming is on the mobile side, and each and every website should think about the mobile first approach, and that's why there are certain scenarios which should be specific for mobile. For example, instant loading of the application, because user doesn't want to wait. There are a lot of components and the UX integrated in AMP, which is more important. So I'll give a quick description about the difference, the comparison between what is UI and what is UX, and why do we need UX in AMP pages, and why do we need our in UX in our normal website development as well. Okay, yeah. So I have added some uh, introduction video as well. If you will be looking at this slide later in the time, and you want to just interact or see the website and explore few tutorials over there. So though there are few things which AMP does a little differently, but if you look all those things, at a glance, you will understand these are nothing but the best practices which a developer should follow as part of the web development journey. For example, uh, minimize style recalculations or prioritize resource loading. That should be one of the you know things which a developer should always follow. And if you have ever tried to run a tool like Lighthouse in your browser, it gives you all the performance metrics out inside your browser, and you will be able to see where did you do wrong and how you can improve your page speed. So most of the time, uh, there will be scripts which are blocking the rendering of your page. So you need to minimize those scripts. There are CSS which is like huge. You don't even need that much CSS on your page. You need to minimize those things. In AMP, you have to execute all the JavaScript asynchronously. All the all the third party JavaScript, you have to keep it out of the critical path so that the website loads faster. Font triggering must be efficient. Fonts are huge. If you're using Google Fonts or something, they are huge. Uh, it takes a lot of time to get the things from some third party source and then plug it in your browser. When your HTML code is getting executed, it takes a lot of time. Minimize the style recalculation. Always think about when you're putting window dot add event listener on scroll or something. because each and every time you're scrolling the page, you're triggering some particular event and it's making some style recalculations and your page might get slow. So AMP has something called AMP layout as well. So which we will maybe try to explore it later. Why AMP? As I told earlier, uh, we need to make our websites faster as well as we need to make it usable. UI is important, but UX is important as well. For example, I told the scenario where you shared the link with your friend and he or she opened the website and it took like 6 or 7 seconds to load the page. They wouldn't even, open that page. They'll just close it. They'll wait for 3 seconds and they will close it. So the information which you want to provide to your users wouldn't be delivered. So that's why you need something which is really, really fast and follows the best practices, and that's how you create the websites. So this is the overall theory about UI and UX. This is how you can imagine how UX is making a difference whenever we are designing a product or something, or even we are designing a website. We put all those fancy UI, we put all those floating buttons, charts, and everything. But just look over it and think how usable it is, how easy it is to use. Is it what a user wants? And that's where the scenario comes, like where you think that whatever development you're doing, it should be user centric. Whatever thinking you're doing, it should be user centric. So this is the simple difference between UI and UX. The image says about the the ketchup bottle. UX makes a lot of difference there. Okay, so I'll just skip this part. So use AMP to build great experience across the web app or in your websites. Whether you are a publisher or you are an e-commerce company, you are a storyteller, advertiser, or even an email sender. AMP makes it easy to create great experiences on the web. And you can use AMP to build AMP websites, which I will be telling in broadly. And there are other features like AMP stories. I'll be showing a quick demo of how you can use AMP stories as well. About AMP ads, there are a lot of things in AMP ads and AMP email. There are a lot of possibilities where you can use those two features. And I'll be showing few things about the AMP ads component as well. And before that, advantages of AMP, you have business benefits and developer benefits. I'll skip this part as of now because we will be covering a lot of things as part of the code as well. So let's see some code. I have put a link as well of the playground of AMP where you can just click on this link and you will land on the playground website where you can see all the examples. Let me show you this. So this is a website where you can play around with code and especially the AMP HTML code where you can uh, embed all the components which are there and you can see the preview over here in different devices as well. So there are a lot of options over here where you can see examples for how you can use ads as an AMP in AMP code. How does the stories look like? So I'll just show you the stories a little bit. So this is how the stories look like and all these things are there. We'll get to detail now. So let me start showing the code here. Okay, so I'll tell you what I'll be doing with the code. So I have a basic HTML website where a CSS is linked and the JavaScript is linked, and there are few images over there. What I will try to do is I'll try to create this basic website into a AMP website, and we will be looking at few of the things like how to see the logs in AMP as we are in development mode, how we can debug those errors, and how we can uh, resolve those errors as well. So before that, I'll just pause for 1 or 2 minutes just to see if there are any questions in the chat. I know there is a little bit of delay in the YouTube streaming as well. But yeah, if you have anything to ask, please feel free to ask in the chat window. I'll try to answer as soon as I can. Okay, no questions as of now. So as you see on my screen, I think now it should be very stable. You should be able to see a piece of code. It's a basic, simple HTML code which has a CSS link and a JavaScript link and a little bit of text with HTML elements and some image tag as well. So yeah, let me open this page in on my. I have already started a server, so I'll just show you this page on my server. This is 8,000. Okay, so this is how a page, the developed page looks like. There is an image and the header part and everything. So right now, this is not a AMP website. Uh, we will try to create this as a AMP website. And first of all, what we need to do is we need to add the third party AMP script which is there. So I have the final version created. I'll take this script and I'll put it over here. So this would be your first step. This is the URL XCD and AMP project, and we are just loading the JavaScript from that project. Now I'll just refresh the page. I would see some console log like powered by AMP HTML. So now this is a AMP website, but it's not valid. And how to check all those errors? I'll just add hashtag development discuss to 1. As soon as I add that in the URL, sorry, I'll be able to see all these errors which are there. So we'll go one by one. The mandatory tag attribute bolt. So by bolt means either it's like you can put AMP or you can put the bolt symbol as well if you have it handy in the tag HTML. So to declare that this is a AMP page, we need to put AMP in the HTML tag. We'll save it and refresh. One error is gone. And there are other things like the attribute href in tag link for fonts is set to invert base. So there are few things in AMP that you cannot use I mean, you cannot directly use external JavaScript which you have written, and all the CSS should be part of the critical path. That means whatever CSS is linked on your page has to be in the HTML page itself. So what I'll do is I'll delete this base.css reference, and I'll create a style tag. I'll create a style tag and copy the CSS from here, and I'll put it over here and save. Now it says custom JavaScript is not allowed as well. So as of now, like we don't have any custom JavaScript. I mean, it's just an empty file, so we can delete it. There are ways to add JavaScript and for your components, and you can use the AMP out of the box components as well. You can get those details on the AMP website once you're going through the guides or the tutorials. I'll just delete this as well. And and since I told like the websites has to be uh, mobile first. That means you have to make all those changes as well. Like you have to add the viewport meta tags, you have to add the car set meta tags. So meta tags are important. Uh, so I'll just add these two meta tags as well in the head. Let me add it at the beginning. Done. And other thing is we need to add AMP custom in our style tag just to show that it's a custom style. And I'll just refresh the page. Now the errors has decreased a little bit. And there's one important thing which is there. We need to add the AMP boilerplate, which AMP gives, uh, which AMP gives out of the box. So I have it handy. I'll just copy this AMP boilerplate as well. So this boilerplate basically takes care of the DOM reflow and the layout changing. So you would have not noticed that whenever you are loading a website, you will see the header first and then some content. Then let's say there is some big image in the middle of that page, and since it is big, it will take some time to load, and you will see you'll think that the website is loaded, but after that image is loaded, the text which you were seeing there has been shifted to some other another world, and you have to scroll all the way down, and you have to see, okay, this is where my text is. So that is called, like, the layout reflow. The layout is changing for a particular page. So AMP layout is something which takes care of those things. So that's why there are best practices that if you're putting a image tag, you should define the width and height of that page's image as well, because the container should be defined from the very initial point. It should not change later. So those are the things which we have to keep in mind if you're developing these kind of pages. Okay, so few errors are gone. I see image tag. So here is the thing. This is the image tag which we have, and it's referencing some image. There are a lot of things, a lot of tags which we have to convert into the AMP tags. For example, the image tag has to be converted into AMP image. The YouTube, if you want to use a YouTube component or something, you have to convert it into AMP YouTube. A lot of other things. So I'm putting AMP image and width. Okay, so let me just put it there. I think this component should be out of the box, so we don't have to import any script. So there is one error in our page, and first of all, we need to put a canonical URL. Canonical URLs are important because most of the times what you will be doing is you will be creating your website and you will be creating AMP pages for those because you want two versions of your website. One is like where you can use a lot of interactivity and everything. One is there where you want to load pages faster, where the content is more important than the interactivity. In that case, you want to have two versions. Otherwise, let's say if your website is simple and you want to make it fast and load instantly, you can have a one single version as well. So I added the canonical URL as well. You might understand that canonical URLs are important even in from SEO point of view as well. Okay, I did not add this. Okay, so after all this hard work, uh, converting all the components to AMP components, adding all the tags which are necessary, adding all the mobile first things, the viewport things and everything. So the AMP validation is successful. If you want to know more about the checklist which AMP has, all the things which are there, you can go to this particular URL. You will get to see this URL more often when you're developing any of the AMP pages. So now the website which is there is converted to an AMP website, and you will be able to see the canonical URL and everything. And if you look at this, just let me inspect this image. So most of the things are getting generated. I added only the AMP image IMG tag, and a lot of things are getting added. A lot of class names and all the functionality is getting added. And if I click on this image, nothing happens as of now. What should happen is it should open in a something like called I think Lightbox. You might have read some medium articles and you have clicked on an image. You will see that image in focus. So something similar to that, some effect. I think I have missed adding some of the I think maybe layout or something. Anyway, I have the completed code here. Uh, so this is the other page which I created earlier. And if I click on this one, you will be able to see it zoomed in, and this is how you normally see in most of the blogging websites. They just put it there. So this was previously it was you had to create this interactivity by embedding a component or something. Now it's out of the box, so you don't have to put the lightbox component to use it. Okay, this is pretty simple. We want something advanced where we want to add the YouTube component, a Twitter component, and let's say a carousel as well. In some case we want to do that. So here is a one more preview which I created earlier. I'll be sharing the code as well. So please don't worry about the code and the slides and everything. I'll be sharing everything so you will have a chance to go through. And most of the things are available on the AMP website as well. So if you have time, you can just go to amp.dev and you can explore it. So yeah, so if you see this demo, this is a very advanced version where I have embedded 2 to 3 components. So one component is AMP ad. You can show the advertisements like this, And if you want to know more, like why do we want to use AMP ads instead of like normal Google ads which are there? Why do we go for that? Please read thoroughly about the documentation of the AMP ads, and they are uh, very interactive, and I mean they are much better than the other ads which are there. So you'll get to know why they are better. Okay. Uh, for the YouTube component, I'll show you how to add a YouTube component, how I have added a YouTube component in my code. And the other things, this is a Twitter feed, so you can embed Twitter feeds as well as part of the AMP pages. I have some missing files. This is how you will see a Twitter component on the page, and there is a carousel as well, but it seems like few of the images are not there. So anyway, I'll just show you the how I have added the YouTube component as well as the Twitter component. So let's say you want to add a YouTube component. Let's say, let's take a case of a YouTube component. So first thing which you would have to add is so for each and every component, there are separate scripts, and most of them will be loading asynchronously. So most of the times it doesn't have dependency with the other components or the page. So, and this script, you can get it on the AMP website once you are starting to develop. There is a list of components, you know, uh, which you can use in your HTML pages if you want to. There are a lot of components actually, which you can put it in your code, and you don't even need to, uh, put any interactivity or anything. You don't need to create your custom components or anything. So this is how you add the script, and you mention the custom element name and the put the source of the script as well. After doing this, you will be able to add the AMP YouTube tag in your HTML code. And there are a couple of arguments which you have to give, like data, video ID, and the width and height of that. If you want some, if you want this thing to be responsive, there are a few of the, as I told, layout related things. You can read more about AMP layout on the AMP website, which I have. I'll be sharing the links later, so I can put responsive, and the layout will be responsive if I'm viewing in a mobile version or a desktop version. So regardless of the width and height which I have given, it will be responsive here. So if I put like this, so you see, so this layout is pretty responsive, which is similar to the how you put normally in a HTML code. So this is how you can add components by using their tag names which are there. And to use that tag name, the important thing was to add the script for that particular component as well. So that's about AMP websites and how to use components in AMP websites. So let me just quickly switch over to slides if something is there. Yeah, I have covered a lot of topics. So I covered introduction, why do we need AMP, and why do we have to use AMP, and the other things are like how to create a AMP website from a basic HTML code, how you can integrate those AMP components into your website. So let me know if you have any questions. I'll just wait for 1 minute. Uh, Okay, let's continue with the remaining topics which we have. I would just want to show quickly, as I told earlier, like I would be showing few things about AMP stories and how it looks like and how to, how does the code looks like for an AMP story, where you can use AMP story. So I'll show you the demo which I have. Okay, before that, uh, as I told earlier, Google gives a very high preference to the pages which are AMP, and as soon as like we are developing all these pages, we should be aware of the SEO which is there. We should be putting all those meta tags, and we should be putting all those SEO friendly tags which are there. And there are few things which are like the JSON LD schema. So you need to put the schema if you want to, you know, make sure that your page shows up correctly in the Google indexing. So, for example, like I have put all the context type and all the tags for this particular page, and since this is a news article or something, I have put type as a news article, and you can validate this schema in a tool called structure data testing tool. So I can just take all of my code and put it over here. If you have a live URL, you can put a live URL as well. And I'll run the test. So as soon as I do that, there are zero errors and zero warnings. Seems like my schema is correct. And this is how basically the the search engine or anything basically takes this URL, I mean those details. And these are the things which you should be mentioning, and you can get more information about the schema on a number of articles which are there on internet or even the schema.org website. And there is one more tool if you want to see like how does it look like in Google search if somebody is searching my article and all these details are filled correctly. How does this how this will preview in the Google search engine. So there is a once you click on this preview button, you will be able to see a simple, I mean, a tool which is basically showing the preview of results of Google search. So if you see that, uh, this all information is getting pulled from the article page which we have just created. Uh, as of now, few things are missing because we didn't put the logo or image of that for this particular article and all. We can put those details in schema as well. So yeah, there is a bolt symbol which you will be able to see, and you might be familiar with this symbol once you're doing a search on articles or something. So mostly there are like a couple of websites which have implemented AMP, mostly the news articles websites which are there, and you will be able to see this symbol, which means like it will load instantly as soon as you click on that website. And most of the AMP pages, the good thing about AMP pages is most of them are cached on the Google CDNs or the even Bing as well. So as soon as the search results are loaded, the articles are pre-rendered. So as soon as you click on that article, it will load instantly. So that indexing and that pre-rendering makes it more and more faster to just load the articles instantly. So this is how you can test the availability or how friendly your page is for Google indexing or any of the other search engine indexing. So after that, I'll go to the AMP stories. So there is a small demo about AMP stories. So yeah, this is how it looks like, and you might be pretty familiar with how people put status on WhatsApp. Okay, so you can put a lot of screens over there, and people can go either backward or forwards. I mean, you just have to tap on the screen, either of the side you can do it. So AMP story is something similar to that, how you can put an article in an interactive form, which is there, right? And you want users to consume that information very in a very easy way and in a very interactive way, so they can see some images, graphics, or text. And it doesn't should it shouldn't take much time of a user. For example, let's say you wrote a article of, like, let's say 1 or 2 pages. you know if somebody is opening it, the scroll rate which is there, usually it's not even 50%. I think average, if I would say, would be generally, let's say a random number, 30% of the page is getting scrolled if a user opens a website, or a web page, or an article. Okay, so there can be couple of reasons. First thing, as I told, like, the website is slow. The other things are like they don't want to read the whole thing because they just read the headline, they seen some images, and they uh, read some text out of it, and then they went away. So how stories play a big role in that kind of scenario? So these stories are quick. User can finish it in, like, even 1 minute as well. If it's like how much time you take for WhatsApp stories, something similar to that. And there are controls over here where you can just switch through the slides and stories. And there are a couple of options like share. So there is a configuration as well which you can configure, like which are the social media platforms which I should be allow uh, users to share. For, let's say, this article is a story and they want to share it with someone, so you can share these stories with use of that link on the other social media platforms which are there. And if you want to put any interactive content as well, like the videos or any audios or something. Yeah, so this is about the AMP stories. I'm sorry, I thought my screen is stuck. uh, okay, I'm back again. So this was about AMP stories, and I'll tell you a couple of things about AMP emails. So a lot of you might have got emails from, if you have scheduled any meeting on Google Hangouts or something, you will probably see some buttons on the invite which you have got. Three options like yes, no, or maybe. So you can directly click on those buttons, and the response you can send it asynchronously without opening any URL. So that is something which is possible with AMP emails. You can add interactivity with your emails. So I'll just show it quickly, and we are almost done with the session as well. So as a lot of people say, this is the most amazing thing which has been done for emails since the emails were created. So there are a lot of interactive, things which you can do. Let's say if you want to get a feedback of a person, usually what we do is we send link of a form, and they open the link, the form loads, and they put all their details, and they put the feedback, and they submit it. Instead of that, what if a user get a form inside the email client which is there. For example, let's say Gmail is there, or Outlook is there, any of the email clients. You get that email, you can see a form, and you can submit the feedback inside the email as well. How quickly that would be! And even it is just a small simple thing, but it will make a big difference with getting the feedback and getting the interactivity from the user. And I hope, like, a lot of metrics will go up, all the positive metrics. I hope. Yeah, so this was about AMP email. I think I have covered most of the things. So thank you for uh, attending this talk. And if you want to, explore more about AMP, you can go to amp.dev. I have shared all the URLs in the references, and I'll be putting the slides as well on the meetup page. And thank you. Thanks to Codaplex for organizing this meetup and letting me talk for um I mean here. And thanks to Sharp for coordinating. And these are the uh, social details if you want to know. Uh, and I'll be uploading the slides, so you will get to see all these details later. So yeah, again, thank you so much. If you need any suggestions or if you have any questions related to this, please feel free to ping me on the details which I have provided. Thanks a lot.